that L.A. accent, actually, Larry.
L.A. Well, I tell you what, I had to learn how to speak English. In other words, I speak English. I teach criminal justice with a university also in Europe. And I tell the students right away, I said, look, guys, I speak English. It might be a little southern twang there or whatever, but if you don't understand, I'll slow down. But the way I talk to you is the way I talk to the students. I am the book. I can take any criminal subject. I don't have to read the book. And I can stand in front of the classroom, and I can have, the Marines that go and back get their education, military personnel or whatever, and I can really open up the classroom, and we can talk about things. We can talk about how the way our world has been shaped, by politics, what's happened throughout the world. We got the very few is making decisions of control people, control certain groups. But I tell you what, in that group or in that classroom, there's three things they won't let you talk about in the university. They won't want you to talk about God, because you don't want to offend someone. I understand that. They don't want you to talk about politics, because I can be sort of leaning towards conservative. There could be someone leaning towards liberal. But I tell you what, I do talk about it, not directly but indirectly. Because without faith, go ahead, Gary.
I just want to say, because of what's been going on recently in D.C., I'm really concerned about, certain government agencies and the government, the Congress, right, the Senate. I actually really don't feel good about saying that, I defended our country. I look at what's going on now, and it really turns my stomach. It makes me wonder what has happened with the civilization in our country that they would allow some of the stuff that's going on and allow these people and keep voting for these type of people. It's not good. It's not healthy, and it's going to destroy America. I'm just being honest.
It is, Gary. It is destroying America. I can tell you right now, it is. And this is kind of strange when I say this. I used to lie to people. Bad guys. I'm talking about bad guys. If you're a bad guy working undercover, I can lie to you. Or if I'm talking to you, I'm a D.E.A. agent, I'm talking to you, a bad guy, and if you lie to me, and we find out that you're lying, then we can charge you for that. Well, I've seen what the FBI, not all, but the guys at the management, at the top, go after people for lying to them, and yet they're lying to them. I understand exactly what you're saying. Our society has flipped. I think with the new, if I can mention it, the commander-in-chief, no one's perfect, but I think our country is struggling right now. We went through a bad time for several years, and right now I think we're going to be okay. After this impeachment hearing, I think the American people see that, or the Supreme Court nominee. I think a lot of people see that. The young people don't want to see it. It's like the guy blowing his flute. When he walks into a village and all the young people follow him into a mountain and closed up on him. That is the young people that I see today. They're blind. They're blind by. They want everybody to pay for everything.
They don't care. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care.
You're absolutely right. But they're in for a rude awakening, Gary. They really are. It's our country. Gary, I tell you what. Let's be proud of our military. I work with them very closely, and I tell people that. Whether you're a Vietnam veteran or you're overnight, or now I go to Spain and they got an expeditionary force. I tell you what, I was there when Benghazi went down. I was in Rota, Spain. I mean, I didn't know it was Benghazi, but I can tell the way the Marines were acting. Something was happening. Did they have plenty of time? Absolutely they did, but it was politics got involved. But today, I'm telling you, it's like a breath of fresh air. We have an expeditionary force over there. Our country, there is no one, and I travel a lot, there is no one out there that can defeat America. We are the greatest country, Gary. We really are. It's incredible. And we're very generous. I mean, we spilled our blood like your friends did in Vietnam and so on. For what? Over 50,000 people? And what happened? But I tell you what, today, if something did happen, I guarantee it, no one's going to defeat us. We are going to defeat ourselves inside, just like they did in Rome. Athens, Greece, Israel. Not once, but several times. They collapse inside. In this country, I think it's going to snap that way. And if we don't get out of it, and I don't see how we're going to pull out of it. Because the young people, I agree with you, they're just going down the wrong path right now. Path of the devil.
I just look at the way politics has gone the last couple presidents and administrations. I voted for Trump. I'm not a political show, but no. I'm confused here. I'm confused why there's a certain amount of people that go along with certain things that isn't right. This whole thing about the impeachment was nothing more than a farce, as far as I'm concerned. It didn't accomplish anything. In fact, it probably, I hate to say it, build up somebody more than it damaged them. But that's not the point. He is our president, so I support him as our president. Do I believe in a lot of stuff he says and he's doing? No. Do I believe what the head of the justice system is doing? No, I don't. I'm hoping that people will open their eyes up and realize what's going on. But we need the young people. And the young people just don't care. They're living in a dream world.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I don't know what's going to take. It's and I tell you what, I feel sorry for the young people today because I travel the South back there. There are a lot of conservative people back. I mean, really. You get into states like mostly California or New York or anywhere along the coast, there's a lot of people that just think that, hey, I'm entitled to it. This is mine. Give it to me now. Or they go out and destroy things. It's going to come to an end, Gary. It truly is. Because I tell you what, people, not the law enforcement, not the politics, people are going to finally stand up. Look what happened in Virginia. Of all the people came out there, some great people, over this Second Amendment, I believe, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
The guns?
Yep. Now, and, I hate to say it again, it's time for a break. This time, it's going to be about an 8-minute break because we got the ID for the stations and we got 5 minutes worth of news. So if you want to get a cup of java, a cup of tea, or whatever, you got like about 8 minutes to relax. And then we'll have Larry Hardren back on, a former DEA agent. 2 great books. You need to get your hands onto it. And we'll be talking to him in about 8 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio.
Journey, some ask themselves why the big time is passing by. They want it all and they want it now. No need to wonder how or why. They decide to make a connection with the bearer of light from the other side. It's a self-centered new world reflection. It's a one-way ticket for one hell of a ride. They're making a deal. Whether down at the crossroads or Hollywood and Vine, they're making a deal. Gonna have it all for a moment in time. You may be a kingpin drug dealer who wants the competition out of the way. You may be an elite politician who wants total control and a power play. You may be an aspiring entertainer who wants to have their name in lights. You may be a 4-star general who wants the upper hand in a global fight. They're all making a deal. With the chief light bearer from the other side, they're making a deal.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News. I'm James Creechbaum. Military-owned cyborg locust. Finally, we developed an invasive surgical approach and mobile multi-unit electro-psychological recording system to tap into the neural signals in a locust brain and realize a biobotic explosive sensing system. In sum, our study provides the first demonstration of how biological systems by hijacking to develop a cyborg chemical sensing approach. Here's a couple of Bigfoot reports that have come in. Here's the witness, what he was talking about, how his brother-in-law stayed over and seen the Bigfoot. He saw the head of a figure appear in the back window, and it hit the back wall of the house with presumably his hand. The thing is, the back window is high up, like 8+ feet high, because there's a good 3 to 4 crawl space under the house there. And the spot he heard the bang was up higher than that, probably 10 feet or more. So it couldn't have been a human. The creature must have been at least 8 foot tall. Here's another report of a couple of men. He and some buddies went out on a camping trip one weekend to fish. They saw an old refrigerator on the ground. For whatever reason, some of them decided to pee on it. They got to their camping spot, and while there later, set up and had a fire before heading to bed. At some point in the middle of the night, he was woken up by what he described to me as the scariest sound he's ever heard. Something that started as a super low howl that transitioned into a long scream. What scared him the most was how close whatever this thing was sounded. He's an avid hunter, has spent a lot of time in the woods, and has never heard a sound or even remotely similar since. Now, they woke up the next morning, and every single one of them heard the sound, but was too afraid to get up and see what it was. The rest of their trip was uneventful until they walked out again, and when they passed by the old refrigerator that they all had beat on, except now it was all the way up off the ground and stuck in the nook of a tree. Maybe whatever it was that took the scent of their urine as an attempt at marking territory and was not very happy or pleased with it, so they demonstrated why. The mystical story of the magical singing stones of Priscilla Mountains. Well, it is well known that the rocks at Stonehenge originated from the rugged area in North Pembrokeshire, but what may be less well known is that they are renowned as singing rocks. The rocks possess acoustic properties and, when struck, resonate with a twang that does not have the same pitch or musical note as the other stones, which make the thud. Now, the singing stones, also known as lithophones, have been recorded by a Welsh music producer and feature on a new album. Rocket jointly produced by U.S. and Ukraine lifts off, takes supplies to the ISS. A medium-class rocket jointly developed by U.S. and Ukrainian specialists successfully launched from a NASA flight facility in Virginia on February 15th, carrying nearly 4 tons of supplies, hardware, and science payloads to the International Space Station. Its 750-kilogram payload included fresh fruit, cheddar, and other cheeses, as well as candy for the crew aboard the International Space Station, ISS. Berserker Vikings drank hallucinogenic tea. Scientists have determined what it was that made the fiercest Viking warriors so fearless and ferocious. Now, in a new study, scientists have shed new light on what was behind the berserkers' fearlessness. A potent herbal tea made from henbane, which is a plant containing 2 types of hallucinogenic. Under the influence of this hellish brew, the berserker warriors would have experienced a reduced sensation of pain, a major increase in aggressiveness, and a reduction in ethical constraints. Next newscast, next show.